The Republic of India, home to more than sixth of the globe's people, with biggest democracy, the most diverse and culturally rich country, the third largest economy by purchasing power parity, one of the fastest growing nations with emerging global leaders in all business sectors, with an average annual sustainable GDP growth rate of 7.5 to 8% for the last decade. To this enormous growth, every year almost 9 million Indians move from rural to urban areas as economic migrants. Transport in the Republic of India is an important part of the nation's economy. Since the economic liberalization of the 1990s, development of infrastructure within the country has progressed at a rapid pace. However, there is a 70% increase in the number of vehicles registered every year in last 5 years. On an average, 1,000 vehicles are registered every day in the capital city of New Delhi. Despite ongoing improvements in the sector, several aspects of transport sector are still riddled with problems due to outdated infrastructure and lack of investment in less economically active parts of the country. The demand of transport infrastructure and services has been rising by around 10% a year. The Suraksha scenario. The Suraksha scenario is a protectionist scenario where we will witness the formation of different economic clusters. The major two economic clusters will be the Far East giants with India included, and the other cluster will be the Western cluster composed of North America and Western Europe. The Far East giants will form the most common concentrated region with a fast growing population and economy, while the Western culture will be characterized by an aging society, low economic growth, and rising public debt. Other characteristics of this scenario are free trade will cease to exist, thus, dual pricing will arise, major global supply chain networks will not function, and Africa will rise to become the world's leading supplier of raw material. Depending on India's ability to secure energy, food, raw materials, and the financial resources needed. In this scenario, Indian economy is expected to grow at 4 to 5% annually, fueled by internal consumption due to increasing population. Due to resource constraints, on new cities will be constructed, and the current cities will continue to grow into mega cities, fueled by internal unorganized migration and a rise in middle class. Those cities will be poorly organized, housing growing in an unorganized fashion, traffic jams will be uncontrollable, and infrastructure will be suffering among other devastating factors. We expect the government to intervene to manage the growing mess. One example would be higher taxation on individual owned vehicles in an attempt to move people away from individual ownership of vehicles to the reliance on mass transportation. Other will be restriction on amount of days people will be able to use their own vehicles. We believe that such actions will not be enough and the only way out will be development of new technology. Technology therefore becomes the equivalent of a domestic arms race as the countries and their national champion industries and companies become secretive about technological development. Certain countries will prove vital to the survival of India. First, the photovoltaic solar panels accompanied by zinc air battery will be critical to push solar energy as the main source of energy. Wireless energy transmission will help in developing more and safer solar fields with a faster means of transfer energy to cities and no need to transfer energy grids. Electricity powered transportation vehicles will be the main means of transportation within the city. electricity power high-speed trains will play a major role in transporting people between cities. The cities will be managed by SWAN technologies and management techniques. An example of this application will be planning different hours of people to get to and out of their work. In the transformative Parivartan scenario, countries work together to solve the planet's most pressing problem, and multilateral collaboration and mutual benefits between resources and technology holder flourishes. States will focus on their core strengths and thereby maximum global output. This deep and long-lasting cooperative agreements enable the world to run more efficient and effectively.
As a response to increasing popular concerns about the environmental impact and sustainability of the current business model, the world's major economies like China, India, the US, and the European countries will seek close collaboration in order to solve the most pressing
problems for a wide range of industries.
Consequently, significant public funds will be made available for international collaborative research and development
pharmaceutical,
in relevant areas such
cosmetic, and electronic products,
clean transportation technologies. National governments and international organizations will be incentivizing cross-border public-private partnerships between research institutions and companies, facilitating transfer of state-of-the-art technologies to developing nations and the sharing of critical know-how. Demand-sided policies like public procurement of innovative technologies will
smog, not fog, a toxic yellow haze that reduces visibility.
Technological innovation within the next 20 years. Conscious of the worsening transport crisis in megacities like Delhi and Mumbai, characterized by levels of congestion, noise, and pollution, the Indian government and major private companies will decide to join efforts and to form the Union for Progress. This union will focus on contributing to achieving India's twin objectives of sustainable development and inclusive growth by increasing the focus on clean and efficient technologies and practices. One key measure of the Union for Progress will be government incentives for companies to relocate their manufacturing plants away from core urban areas in order to relieve population pressure caused by annual economic growth of 8% and the resulting migration movements. The relocated manufacturing plants will act as seeds for the emergence of new, medium-sized satellite towns clustered at a safe distance of the existing megacities. These satellite cities will be carefully planned from scratch by urban planners and in close collaboration between government and private companies, and game-changing technologies will play a major role in the infrastructure and urban design. Energy demand in these cities is most certainly going to increase due to its positive correlation with GDP expansion. Production will rely heavily on cleaner technologies such as fourth or fifth generation nuclear energy and renewables, especially solar photovoltaic, to satisfy growing demand. In the downtown areas of the satellite cities, private transport will be heavily restricted. This opens the window for Indian companies, together with their international partners, to implement large-scale pilot projects of automated private transportation. These pod cars will allow for movement of large number of people in an organized and effective way, reducing commuting time and pollution while simultaneously increasing road safety. Commercial vehicles are also going to be automated. In order to reduce congestion in the city, their access to the center will be limited to non-peak hours. Artificial intelligence and machine vision will play a major role in this scenario, as these technologies enable interactions between automated vehicles and those driven by humans, and thereby optimizing the traffic flow and guaranteeing a safe coexistence of the different modes of transport. The different areas of the outskirts will be connected by a circular high-speed railway. The train will be powered by traveling wave nuclear technology, providing fast transportation with minimal environmental impact. In order to meet people's special needs, private car-sharing vehicles owned by 2 or more companies will be available at the major train stations. These vehicles will be fully electric and rely on upcoming generations of zinc air batteries and efficient electric motors such as wave disk engines that will significantly increase their range while simultaneously allowing for reduced charging time. The city will provide dedicated street parking for car-sharing vehicles in order to guarantee the most efficient use of public space. At the assigned space, a recharging station connected to the smart grid and
close
equipped
gaps
with
to
smart
ensure
meters
that
will allow
the
vehicles
benefits of
to be recharged in a short period of time.
We have seen some of the possible outcomes of urban transportation in India may have by 2030. Based on these scenarios, business decision makers should be able to design strategic options that will give the necessary flexibility to benefit from future uncertainties.